The grand amphitheater of Xyloth Prime shimmered with bioluminescent walls that pulsed in rhythm with the assembled crowd's collective heartbeat. 7 princesses from 7 different star systems stood upon elevated platforms, each representing their civilization's highest nobility. Below them, in the center of the crystalline floor, stood 30 potential suitors from across the galaxy, warriors, scholars, diplomats, and champions, and 1 human. Leo Martinez shifted uncomfortably in his formal Earth delegation uniform, wondering for the 1000th time how he'd ended up here. He was just a xenobiologist, sent to document the choosing ceremony for the Terran archives. Somehow his credentials had been misread, his diplomatic clearance misinterpreted, and now he stood among beings who could bend gravity with their minds or breathe plasma. "The choosing begins," announced the overseer, a towering crystalline entity whose voice resonated through everyone's neural implants. "Each princess shall select her mate based on the ancient traditions. Strength, wisdom, and genetic compatibility shall guide their choice." Elsa Vance, Earth's diplomatic attaché, watched from the observation gallery with growing amusement. She'd tried to correct the error 3 times, but the Xylothian bureaucracy moved slower than continental drift. Now she could only watch as her colleague faced the most awkward situation in human diplomatic history. The first princess, Lady Zixaria of the Crystalline Nebulae, descended from her platform. Her body refracted light into 1,000 rainbows as she moved past a Gorlaxian war chief, twice Leo's size, past a Ven philosopher whose brain literally glowed with neural activity. She stopped directly in front of Leo. "This one," she said, her voice like wind chimes. The amphitheater fell silent. Leo's eyes widened. "I think there's been a mistake. The second princess didn't wait for formalities. Princess Hixlin of the Void Courts, whose species existed partially in another dimension, phased through 3 suitors and materialized beside Zixaria. No, this human. I choose him as well." Elsa sat forward in her seat. This was unprecedented. In 5,000 years of choosing ceremonies, no suitor had ever been selected twice. One by one, the remaining princesses descended. The warrior queen from the Magma dynasty, the psionic heir of the Thought Collective, the bioengineered perfection of the Gene Lords, the timeless daughter of a civilization that experienced causality backward, and finally the quantum princess who existed in superposition until observed. All 7 pointed to Leo. The amphitheater erupted into chaos. The overseer's form flickered with confusion. Representatives from 100 worlds began shouting in languages that the translation matrix struggled to process. Several rejected suitors looked ready to challenge Leo to combat. Silence. The overseer's command cut through the noise like a blade. "This is irregular. Princess Zixaria, you have seniority. Explain your choice." The crystalline princess turned to address the assembly, though her faceted eyes remained fixed on Leo. "When I looked upon this human, I saw something none of the others possessed. Not strength, though humans have conquered their world. Not wisdom, though they reached the stars in mere millennia. I saw something more valuable. Doubt." She gestured to Leo, who looked like he desperately wanted to sink through the floor. "Observe him. He does not puff his chest. He does not display dominance. He questions his own presence here. In my civilization, we value clarity above all else. And this human is clear-sighted enough to recognize his own limitations. That is the foundation of true growth." Princess Hixlin nodded, her half-phased form solidifying slightly. "My people exist between states of being. We value adaptability. Humans are the most adaptable species we've encountered. This one came here by accident and adapted to the situation instead of fleeing. He stands among warriors and does not pretend to be one. That is authentic flexibility." One by one, each princess explained her reasoning. The warrior queen valued his lack of aggression in a room full of violence. The psionic heir appreciated that his mind was quiet, contemplative rather than broadcasting arrogance. The Gene Lord's daughter found his imperfect, unmodified biology refreshing. The time-reversed princess saw futures where his kindness rippled outward. The quantum princess observed that in all possible states he remained fundamentally decent. Leo finally found his voice. "Your Highnesses, I'm honored truly, but I'm not here as a suitor. I'm a scientist. I study microbial life in extreme environments. I'm probably the least qualified person in this room for whatever this is." "And yet," the quantum princess said, her form solidifying into a singular state for emphasis. You just proved our point. You prioritize truth over pride. You admit inadequacy without shame. Do you know how rare that is among those who seek power? Elsa stood from her seat in the gallery. Excuse me, Overseer. Perhaps I can provide clarity. She descended to the arena floor, her own formal uniform bearing the insignia of Earth's diplomatic corps. As she approached, she caught Leo's relieved expression. Finally, someone to rescue him from this absurdity. The human species has a saying, Elsa announced to the assembly. The best leaders are those who don't want the job. Mr. Martinez embodies this principle. He has no desire for power, which makes him trustworthy with it. He values knowledge over conquest, understanding over dominance. She turned to face the 7 princesses. But I must inform you, humans are monogamous by cultural tradition. Even if Leo wanted to accept, choosing all 7 of you would be impossible by our customs. Then he must choose one of us, Zixaria said. No, Leo said firmly, surprising himself with his own conviction. I choose none of you. Gasps rippled through the amphitheater. Leo continued, his scientific mind finally finding solid ground. You've each described why you value certain human traits, but you're treating me as a specimen, not a person. You're selecting based on genetics and philosophy, not connection or compatibility or love, for lack of a better term. I came here to learn about your cultures, not to become a political bargaining chip. The Overseer's crystalline form pulsed with something that might have been approval. The human refuses the choosing. This too is unprecedented. Actually, Elsa interjected with a slight smile, it's very human. The quantum princess laughed, a sound like bells across probability curves. He refuses 7 princesses to maintain his principles. Yes, I begin to understand why humans are so dangerous. They value abstract concepts more than concrete power. As the ceremony dissolved into diplomatic discussions about unprecedented outcomes and cultural exchange programs, Leo made his way to Elsa's side. Thanks for the backup, he muttered. Thanks for making humans look like relationship philosophers, she replied. Though now we'll probably have delegations from all 7 civilizations wanting to study human mating rituals. Please tell me you're joking. I never joke about diplomacy, Leo. As they exited the amphitheater together, neither noticed the knowing glances exchanged by the 7 princesses, or the way the quantum princess's superposition briefly showed them a future where Leo and Elsa figured out what everyone else already saw. Sometimes the best choice was the one standing beside you all along, and